Owning backyard chickens sounds really beautiful until those mistakes happen just like they happen to us. Today I'm going to be sharing 7 mistakes and learnings that we made and how you can avoid them so you have really strong, beautiful, healthy chickens. So we have had backyard chickens for 10 years and in that time we've lost 2 flocks, whole flocks of hens, and it was really sad to go through that with the kids. And our 3rd flock of hens is the flock we've got now. We have 8 hens. 4 of those have just turned 4 years old and they're all really healthy, they're all laying really well. It's really beautiful to see. So the first learning that the biggest lesson right at the beginning, we could call this mistake the rescue hen. So we had 4 hens and our run was massive. Our coop was over there. It's very different to the setup we have now. And my children were tiny. So I had really small children back then and I had the opportunity. So we must have had the chickens for a while and I had the opportunity to rescue a hen. So we thought that rescuing a hen would be a really beautiful thing to do, which it is, right? But the lesson is that there are some things that you need to do around rescuing a hen to protect your chickens. So what happened in this case is that we introduced the hen to our flock and that went well, but we introduced mites at the same time. And these mites were terrible. I don't know if anyone's ever experienced mites in their chicken flock before. I'm sure there's plenty of you that have. It is a terrible experience, lots of cleaning, and in this case we took our hens to the vets and we had a treatment plan as well. And that was 8 weeks of treatment and I had to go out and put tablets in there. I had to give them tablets. It was terrible. 8 weeks we had to withhold from having eggs. So the mistake here was blindly accepting a rescue hen, and that isn't the mistake itself, but definitely quarantine your hens and protect them and be careful about introducing new birds, because every time you introduce new chickens to your flock, you are risking bringing in something new, and some of these things can really wipe out your flock. So that was just the first mistake, and trust me, our next mistake, it gets worse, right? That's why we're here. So I want to move on to the next mistake we made, and the mistake was, let's call it roosting outside, and the actual mistake was letting one hen, the rescue hen that we'd rescued, sleep outside. So it was roosting in a tree, and every night I'd go and get this hen, I'd have to climb a tree, get the hen and take it back into the coop and lock it up. And I did this for months and months on end. I then spoke to the previous owner of this hen and she said, you know what, just let her roost in the tree. Like that's where she wants to be, just let it be, right? Now, this was where the mistake really happened, because one night, as you can guess, a fox found that hen. Now, we live in a residential area and there are foxes. I didn't realise that there were foxes. I just assumed that in town there wouldn't be foxes, but a fox found that hen, which put us on the fox map. And once we were on that fox's radar, it came back every night. I was seeing signs of that fox every night. So the fox put us on the fox map. And once that fox found us, things went downhill. So I'd like to talk about our 3rd mistake now. Let's call this mistake the forgotten door. So we had 1 sick chicken and in one night we lost our whole flock. So the chicken got really sick and we made an emergency visit to the vets. This was a long time ago now, but I'm pretty sure one of us went in and grabbed the chicken at night because it's easier to get chickens at night than chasing them around the day. And then my partner, my husband or myself, one of us forgot to shut the door and we were on the fox's map. So that fox came that night and he took the whole flock. That's how we lost the first flock of hens that we had. And it was sad, the kids were sad. We buried the hens, and guess what happens when you bury hens? The fox or foxes, they come back and they dig them up. So it was quite a disaster. So we thought this was a one-time tragedy, but it happened again. Let's call the next mistake that we feel that we made, and I know a lot of people love this product, but for us, our instinct after we lost our hens to foxes was to get an automatic chicken door. And because we're on the foxes map, and the chicken door was great, right? It opened at dawn and it closed at dusk. But the problem is that in the heart of winter, it was solar powered. One night it didn't close and Mr. Fox came back and he took the flock again. So the second flock, but this wasn't straight away, but this would be a couple of years later. By the time we recovered from losing the first flock, put measures in place to make them safer, and then the second time, and then time went on, eventually the solar panels and the batteries and whatever else, that door didn't close. It was, I feel that it was a false sense of security, because that fox was coming every night and he took the second flock. We lost our second flock of hens to a fox. So the fourth mistake I would say is that we had so many pests, way more than just foxes. We had crows stealing the chickens' eggs. We had rats stealing their food. We had sparrows, pigeons. We were feeding so many other animals while trying to look after our hens. So something had to change. We had an absolute menagerie of wild animals. I'm sketching. Hello. Hello. We had an absolute... We had a menagerie of animals, so something had to give, and then we decided to make a really big change, and we were going to get on top of all these problems. So we had to do something, so we did the only thing we could do, and we did an absolutely massive overhaul. Built a new coop, and this coop is rodent proof, so at night we lock the coop up and the rats can't get in, so they can't steal the food. We built a run that's fox proof, so even if this door gets left open by accident, or it's not the first line of defense. So if anything was to happen to this door, we still have a run that's fox proof, right? So much better than before. And then over the top we put a net, because I was concerned about the birds bringing in diseases like sparrows, pigeons, and the crows obviously stealing the eggs. So we put a net over the top. So we've got a run that is fox proof, a net over the top to keep all the birds out. The only birds that can get into this space are sparrows. The chicken coop is mite resistant, so it hasn't got a lot of wood, so mites are attracted to wood. So we use products that we knew that mites didn't like, and we haven't had mites in this coop ever, so hopefully that continues. This coop keeps the rats and the mites out so they cannot steal our food. So this has really improved our how much feed we're going through. So I guess the mistake was letting the wildlife access to our feed and to our space, is that we could bring diseases in through the birds, but also we're spending so much money on feed. So the idea of this is to keep our chickens safe and to keep them healthy and to lower costs. So it finally clicked, and I guess, I don't know if this is a mistake or just like a learning, but over the years of gardening in the garden, I realized that the best defense for our chickens to stay healthy is to actually make sure that all their needs are being met. And healthy plants seem to have a natural resistance to things like aphids and stuff like that, and insects that are trying to eat them. So I figured it was the same with chickens. Healthy chickens are going to be more resilient to diseases and to issues, so they're less likely to get sick. So I really cleaned up their feed, and I made sure they have multiple sources of clean water, so they have multiple feed types. So really what I was going for is a really well-rounded diet, and they obviously free range as well, but I feel that chickens that don't have enough space and they're not getting adequately fed are going to be chickens that are more unwell. They're going to be chickens that get sick, that pick up diseases. And since we've totally done an overhaul of their diet as well as the space, so the space isn't as big as it was, but they do free range in the garden. and their nutrition is much better managed now. So I think it makes a big difference. They're all laying really well and they all seem really happy. So the last learning that I really want to talk about, for those that have backyard chickens, you're probably wanting chickens that are really docile, ones that can be handled. And what I found over the years is that automatic feeders, so we do have an automatic feeder, but that is for the feed that they don't really enjoy, but it's very nourishing. But anything that's like a treat, like the seeds that we give them, the chicken, like a seed mix as a treat, we give them by hand because we want the chickens to have a positive association with us. And the same with the chicken door. We still open the chicken door up every morning and lock it. So there's 2 lines of defense against the foxes. But it also, by having the chicken door that we're opening, the chickens associate us with something positive. So when I noticed that if we went back to the automatic door and the automatic feeders, the chickens ran out, like they had nothing to associate with us as a positive thing. Whereas our chickens, not all of them, like some of them are a little bit flighty, but most of them don't mind being handled, don't mind being picked up. They're always picked up in a safe way. In a gentle way, because we have a lot of kids that come over to our place, so it's very important the chickens always feel safe. So how we handle them matters, but as long as they feel safe and they associate us with something positive, they will be quite happy to come up and have a cuddle and to have a scratch. The only other way that we've had really docile chickens, like this girl here, this is Popcorn. Hey. Popcorn's a bit dirty at the moment, but Popcorn and she's 4, so there's 4 of these Polish girls. We hand raise these insides. That's the only other thing that you can do to teach the chickens how safe we are. And yeah, I know, and she's gonna peck me. So by hand raising chickens, like that's the ultimate, but not everyone has that. So if you can't hand raise the chickens, having a door that you let them out or feeding them treats from your hand and not through an automatic feeder is going to improve your relationship and your connection with the chickens. So chickens bring us so much joy. We've had so many lessons with our chickens, but we absolutely love them. They're such a special part of our family, and I think we'll always have chickens. They are really special, and you know what, the kids absolutely adore them. They all have such unique personalities, and we've absolutely loved having chickens. So thank you for watching. If you made it this far, please subscribe. I'm really new to YouTube and I'm still trying to figure it all out, but I love sharing my stories and my knowledge with other people that are interested in the same stuff. So thanks for following. Bye.